mentioned that you do conceptualization, and that is a role that is played mainly by, that's a key role that's played by built environment professionals in the public sector. So do you think generally built environment professionals appreciate their role? Do they appreciate what their role is in terms of social justice and what they do in the communities?
Okay, so for I think a straight answer to that is no, because we're not really taught that when we are in school. You kind of then gain it as experience the more you're in the field, and it also depends on the kind of sector you're in. So for example, I have been exposed as a Hardhat professional in all these terminologies to do with sustainable development, etc., and that is only because I was working in the non-governmental organizations and also in development finance institutions. But I've got my classmates who from university, they went on to join, say, consultancies, they went on to join contractors, and they don't necessarily receive the kind of information relating to social justice. I have an interesting example. So when we were working for this NGO, and we were constructing toilets, play toilets for people in the rural areas. So the design was done by a technical team who didn't do any sort of stakeholder analysis, and they had the ladies on one side and the gentlemen's toilets on the other side. But now what happens especially in rural areas is you don't have say, we call it mukwasha or mkwenyana, that would be son-in-law and his mother-in-law going the same direction to the toilet. So you'd find you have built a perfectly fine toilet, but nobody uses it because both the males and females have to use the same path to go to that toilet. So and that happens because in our training we don't really get a lot of information on taking into consideration the different cultures that exist in different places. And so we come up with the best design, the most affordable, but then if it doesn't take into account the cultures of that place, then you will just remain with a beautiful structure that nobody uses. Yeah.
Do you think generally as built environment professionals we appreciate our importance in this job that we do as Hardhat professionals?
When I think of my experience when I was still in the private sector and I was still a quantity surveying consultant, I really never saw the value of what I did. My focus was just on doing my estimates, doing my bills of quantities. I never really saw the bigger picture. I never really thought about the value that I was adding through the work that I was doing. So I agree with Michelle. It's not how we taught at varsity. It's not how we actually trained to actually engage with our projects. So, however, in the roles that we occupy right now in the public service, we have an opportunity to actually influence decisions that get made in such a way that we do promote that social justice. We do actually put at the forefront the issues that actually have a direct impact on the people. Like, for instance, the program that I work on, which is social housing. So social housing is all about responding to historical spatial norms. So it's all about spatial transformation, spatial reforms. And by instilling those spatial reforms, it means that you are bringing people to areas that previously, historically, they didn't have access to. And by bringing them to these areas that are strategically located, it means that you are bringing people close to places of employment. You are bringing them close to amenities that ordinarily that they would not have access to. For instance, if you move them to a certain area, it might mean that their children are able to go to schools that they would not have been able to go to, and that has a direct impact on the family as a whole, on that particular generation as a whole, because it means that you are actually improving the quality of life by virtue of getting access to better education. So by promoting those programs within our professional spheres where we work, it means that we are actually making that impact and we are using the voice that we have. We must understand that, particularly in the South African context, the way that South African cities were structured, it was very much, if you look at the Group Areas Act, it was very much a town planning exercise. It was town planners who were actually behind the engineering of the segregated city that we have here in South Africa right now. So as build professionals, we have an opportunity as well to reverse and use our professional disciplines to reverse what was done in the past and actually tell a different narrative as to how people are supposed to live within our urban space.